Hey, welcome to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. You yesterday came out the under 19s, the teams, and it's going to be in early August in Hungary. What's going to happen with the under 18s and under 16 European Championships? Are they really going to happen? We'll see. Tom from France comes on. Tom Tori, that's the FIBA social media guy for the youth. He's going to join us today. We're going to talk a little bit of European and catch up there. And then we're going to have 2022 Emma Johansson from Sweden coming on the show today. And so you don't want to miss this show. Hey, welcome back, and welcome to From the Baseline with Premier Basketball. I'm Mark Williams, Premier Basketball Global Scout, and I am joined by Tom.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Tom. From Europe. He lives in France, and he covers women's youth basketball for FIBA, social media guy, and does a fantastic job. And if you're not following him on Twitter, definitely a follow you need to have to be in the know and what's going on FIBA-wise and with women's basketball in Europe. And so, Tom, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time this morning and coming on with us. Just yesterday, FIBA announced their teams for the Under 19 World Cup. What was your thoughts on the list?
Well, the list is, I don't know. I mean, there is the top team in the list. It couldn't be someone else. I mean, from Europe, you have Spain, France, Italy, Russia, which are the top teams for this generation, and they are joined by Hungary, which is one of the top nation in the youth women basketball world, and Czech Republic. I mean, it's kind of normal that these teams are here from the under 19. This is a team that we usually see in this kind of event, and they're doing a really good work on working with youth in their domestic league, in their national championship, and this is kind of reward for them to be here.
Right. Well, and the unique thing, just due to COVID, the different regions outside of Africa couldn't do their qualifying tournaments, and so Africa was able to do it back in December, and Egypt and Mali were the two representatives from Africa to qualify. But without the tournament, they just went based on the rankings, the youth rankings, and who were the top, 4 or 5 based on that region. Hungary got in because they're hosting it, but it's a loaded field, and so it should be a lot of great matchups.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you have a look at the previous competition under 16 and under 18, this is clearly the teams who performed and who were good at this event. So there will be a lot of interesting matchups between all the continent and all the teams out there.
Yep. Early favorite?
Well, I could say France.
There you go. Yeah.
maybe another French USA final, as we saw in the previous under 17 competition. So basically the under 18 now, the 19 now.
Well, it'll be really interesting, because last year we didn't have any under 18s, to really see, okay, who's going to qualify and who's playing well. So it's really an open field, because we have an idea from 2 years ago, when these kids were bottom age under 18, but we didn't get to see last year. So really it's kind of it's like Christmas and you don't know what's in the box a little bit, to see who's going to show up and who's going to perform. And so should be exciting one. And that's going to be in early August in Hungary, and FIBA will be live streaming it. And so I'm pretty sure fans are going to be very limited at it, if not any, outside of the teams and tournament staff. And so we'll at least be able to check it out on YouTube. So that should be a good thing. Uh, What are you hearing on the European Championships under 18 and under 16? What are you hearing? Are they going to be able to go or not?
Well, at this point, we really don't know what's gonna happen. There's a lot of question about it, but there should be a decision in the upcoming weeks, about whether it will be there will be the competition or not. But at this point, they have no clue about it. Of course, if the events will take place, there will be no fans and only staff allowed, which is the the main how to say this is usually how it's happened right now in Europe. So
Right.
this this won't be a surprise that there will be no fans and only staff allowed there.
Right. Well, and I know the federations, the under 18s and under 16s are such an important development tournament for their young players to come up. And
Mhm.
uh, I know the federations are going to do all that they can to be able to have those tournaments because it's just important for them in their top players' development paths. Then the question is if you do A, do you do B? If you do B, do you do C? I mean, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is really the under 18 and under 16 European Championships. There's 3 tournaments. There's an
Yeah,
A, there's a B, there's a C. Um, and so in essence, if you're going to do one, you kind of got to do all 3.
yeah, you have to do the other one.
Yep. And
Yeah,
so and that's a lot to tackle.
situation here is about this year's tournament, because there's also the Olympics, there's also the Eurobasket women, so there's a lot of events, and I won't say that just competition is not major competition, but
Right.
there's also other things to think about right now.
Oh, absolutely. And wrestling still with the COVID around in the world and at some point you've got to look at it and go, and it just happens to be the year that we have the Olympics and European, Cup and European Championship. And so, at some point you're going to look at it and go, okay, we can't do it all just because of the restrictions, the testing, the protocols, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, if they do have to trim back, it's probably going to be the under 16s, under 18s.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll be interested to see, and we'll be looking out for that in the next couple of weeks. So it's been about a month since we talked. Over this past month, any outstanding performances there in Europe from some youth players?
Well, there was the Italian Cup. They do some kinds of final 8 format due to COVID restriction, and in this tournament, Awak delivered again. I mean, she was really, she is one of the top player for our teams. There was out in the semis, but she played really well and against really good teams. I mean, this is the top 8 teams in Italy. So basically, there was Kyo, there was Venice, who was in Eurocup, and a title contender for the Eurocup title. So a really good team, and I think she scored like 20 points, and she was really good during this time. There was also so the majority of the performances was in domestic league, as the EuroLeague Women Qualifiers and Eurocup competition start next week. So Iliana Repair also played well. To talk about top prospect here, she was in the start. She was in the starting 5 for Bourges, and was a really important player for them. I mean, she's playing her style really smart, not too flashy, but really efficient, you know. So she really played well. And there's also a lot of player we can talk about in France, but I won't talk about everyone.
Yeah. No, and there's you still have some countries from domestic leagues, unless they're playing in pro league or like a level 2 league, second division pro league. A lot of your youth competitions aren't happening in a lot of countries. Once again,
Yeah.
still to COVID, and so most of your top prospects are playing at least a development player on Division One pro league or Division Two,
Mhm.
and stuff. But uh, there's talent all across Europe.
Yeah,
Um,
because but we have the chance here in France that kids from INSEP, so the top program in France, in Paris, are still playing in the second division, in French league second division. So they're still playing every weeks or 2 times a week, and almost all these games can be found on YouTube, so everyone can watch it and see how the kids develops. Um, because there is a lot of 2004, 2003 born in there, and really interesting player to watch.
hmm. Now, what channel can they catch the INSEP games on?
Well, mostly you can watch on the teams they're playing, because the INSEP doesn't stream their games,
Right.
but the team they are playing against broadcast the games.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
for example, a team like Mondeville, which is also a top program in France in second division, with a lot of prospect in almost all of their players are in youth French teams.
Mm.
Um, they're streaming a lot of game too, and there will be an interesting matchup between them and the INSEF.
Perfect. Well, and that's really kind of a cool idea what they do with INSEP. And I know some other countries, Spain has Sigala, and there's other countries that do it. Australia has the Center of Excellence,
Yeah,
where they try to get their top kids, as many as they can, in one location, and they train them, and they get physio, and they get basketball, high level coaching, and then they go play top level competition. Um, so that their development is progressing pretty rapidly, with the plan of this is the future of the senior women's national team.
mhm,
Uh, and so that's a really cool concept and an idea that a lot of countries have. It's always kind of been interesting just from a French side with the French kids, as far as uh, we've seen some of those kids come to the States from a recruiting standpoint, very few of them.
yeah,
Um, but I know, there's more interest from French kids because there's more that kind of steadily have been coming over in the last, 3 or 4 years, whether it's to
yeah.
JUCOs or whether it's to Division One schools, and there's definitely tons of talent in France, that could play at a Division One school in the United States.
Yeah, of course. And the main point is that recruiters or university there don't really know who are the other kids from the inside, because this is they don't have the same exposure.
Right.
The and the major the major part of French youth team came from INSEP, and only a few clubs like Bourges, like Mondeville. Uh, so it's basically the same club and the same player every year.
Right. Right. Well, and typically those are the same ones who've had success, who are recruiting kids, the top kids, and that success is breeding more success. And so, it'll be interesting to see. Um, and I think college coaches would recruit France more the more kids are coming over and they're seeing, hey, French kids will actually come over, and
Yeah.
the more exposure those kids who are not at INSEPT but are really good,
Mhm.
the more that those kids come over and have success, the more that's going to breed for more opportunities. I mean, you see what's happened in Spain. Um, you've got Siglo, but you've got different people
Yeah.
helping players come over, and there's a lot of Spanish players coming over right now.
Yeah, but it's not really in the French culture for now.
Hmm.
From kids to come from France and go in the US. Um, but there's also a really good program in France. I mean, they have the chance to develop and study here with French programs too.
Hmm.
Uh, but there's only a few one, you know. There's only like 5 or 6 really good clubs that organize this well.
Right.
So basically, they have this opportunity in France, but they don't know they can just do it in the US too.
Right. Right. Hey, if a college coach is interested in French players, I would reach out to Tom. You can find him on Twitter, and Tom knows who those kids are and can definitely help in that situation, um, and stuff. So, but Tom, we appreciate the quick check in. Always good to catch up with you, my friend, and
Pleasure.
hopefully next time we get to talk about how the under 18s and under 16s and where they're at, and hope those events end up happening. So, but we appreciate your time. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with 2022 Emma Johansson from Sweden. Stay tuned after this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Athlete Vision Sports presents the most advanced new recruiting engine on the market today. Athlete Vision records all your big tournaments on high-definition video. You can show your A game to a nationwide audience, create your own player profile, or upload your own highlight videos. College recruiters have instant access to your tournament videos. Let Athlete Vision catapult you to the next level. Sign up for Athlete Vision today.
Hey, welcome back. I am now joined by 2022 Emma Johansson from Sweden. We appreciate you coming on with us, Emma. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. How is life in Sweden? Are y'all locked down? Are we back to some normal? What's it look like?
It's not locked down, but we have like online school now, so it's kind of different. But yeah, it works.
Yeah, it could be worse, right?
Yeah,
it could be.
exactly.
Yeah. I know different parts of the country have locked down differently, and some have been more restrictive than others. So, but at least it's being able to do some things and play a little bit of basketball, which I know we'll get to here in a second. But so we talked a little bit earlier, shared a little bit about your family, not really from a basketball family, but still kind of a sports family. Your sister is a swimmer, and she's actually at San Diego State. Talk a little bit about being raised in a family that likes sports and y'all try a lot of different sports.
Yeah. So my sister is in college, like you said, and my dad used to play hockey, but my mom didn't play any sports. So it was actually my friends that started to play basketball. So that's why I wanted to try too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's how a lot of kids get introduced to basketball at a young age is their friends are playing, and so their friends will ask them if they want to play, or they look around and go, hey, y'all are all kind of dressed alike and going somewhere. What are y'all doing? And stuff. Do you remember at a young age, you talked about friends, what is, and you played different sports and football, which is soccer and different things. What was it about basketball that just stuck for you, that you're like, man, I really like this. This is what I want to do more of?
Yeah. I think it was, I like to play like team sports because like you can support each other, and if you have like a bad day, you give them positive energy, and and I just because of my friends that play basketball, I think I liked it because of that.
Yeah.
But now, I like basketball because, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, well, hey, you and everybody else, you know, definitely basketball. Sometimes it gets lost in all this competitiveness and winning games and all that kind of stuff is a camaraderie between teammates and the going through trials and tribulations and the ups and downs of a season and basketball is definitely a team sport. So it's going through those and the high moments and celebrating and storming the court when somebody hits a game-winning shot to, you know, the hard conditionings where we're running, you know, hills and but you know at the end of the day, you're not the only one there, and that, you know, people are there and you're going to get through it together and people have your back, and so you know that's always it's a big reason why a lot of people play. So
Yeah.
Now you talked a little bit earlier. You mentioned that school's in remote, but what school in Sweden are you attending right now?
Which school I go to?
Yes.
Yeah. I go to a school called Sanda, and it's a basketball school.
Okay.
So we have like a team that plays basketball in the morning with the morning practice, and yeah.
So what is a normal? I know you're in remote, and it's probably kind of similar still, but what is a normal day in the life for you there going to school? What does a normal day look like?
Yeah. At first we have a morning practice, and it's a lot of individual stuff in the morning, like handles or shooting drills or and then we go to our classes. Sometimes it's around like 8 to 3, and then we go to different teams, team practice in the evening. So some of them go to Division 1 or like some of them go to other clubs. So yeah.
Okay. So you do skills workout, conditioning stuff in the morning, go do your school stuff, and then in the evening you have your whatever team practice, if it's a pro team or Division 1, whichever level that you're playing at. So well that's a unique situation because you're getting, you know, in essence 2 basketball practices a day. And so
yeah, it is.
And any basketball players gotta enjoy that. When did you? I know you played multiple sports and then, you know, got introduced to basketball through your friends. When did you, in your basketball kind of career, when did you realize, hey, you know, I'm pretty good. Like I have a chance to be a pretty good player. When was that for you?
I think when I was around like 13 or around 13, I played in Division 2 in the FTB, that are the same club that I play now, and the coach from pro team asked me to like practice with them sometimes, and so yeah, it was really cool to start to practice with older players, and it was an experience. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's different. I mean, you play your own age group and you're like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good. But then once, you know, the pro team coach asks you to come practice with them, and there in Europe, when you're playing on a pro team, typically it's you know, women who are, you know, 20 and older, and you've got Americans that have come over, or imports from different countries, and I mean, it's super competitive, and so that would be like a realization of like, oh, I have a chance to be pretty good, or at least somebody else thinks I'm pretty good. You know, that always kind of boosts our own confidence there as well. So now you stand about 6'2". So growing up, were you always like the tallest player on your teams?
Yeah, I actually was. I always been the tallest, and I played like a lot of inside when I was younger because I was the tallest. And I was under the basket more, but then when I came to the pro team, I wasn't the tallest anymore, and not strongest or anything. So it was really tough to be inside. So I started to like play more outside and shooting the ball from the three, and
Absolutely. Well, and that's your eyes probably got opened at that point, and is that, hey, I'm not going to be the biggest, strongest, young lady on the floor. And there's when you're younger and you've always been the tallest, you kind of get this like preconceived notion that you'll always be the tallest, and then as you get older and you realize that, oh no, there's like taller people than me, you have to adjust. And lucky for you, that came earlier, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there when you got invited to the pro team. A lot of people realize, fortunately, a lot of players realize that, later, 17, 18, and, they're scrambling because their game hasn't evolved and stuff. And so, that's a very fortunate thing for you. And you can see the benefits in your game now from having that experience and shifting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit, but that was a very fortunate situation for you.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're going to take a quick break right now, and we're going to let you enjoy some highlights here of Emma. And so enjoy these highlights, and we'll be back right after this. Hey, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the highlights there of Emma. And we've been joined by 2022 Emma Johansson from Sweden. And so we appreciate her being on. And, you know, before the break, we talked a little bit of basketball, and we talked, you know, about being the tallest player and how your game kind of evolved because at a young age, you got asked to join the pro team for practice and stuff like that. One of the things also that's kind of been, you've had the opportunity to do is you've had the opportunity to represent Sweden at a couple of the junior European Championships. In 2019, you're at the under 16s. Unfortunately, last year, because of COVID, there wasn't any under 18s, and so you couldn't play there. And hopefully this summer, all goes well. We can have the European Championships, and you'll get to play this summer. So, do you remember when you found out you made the team the first time, and they handed you your Sweden uniform? Do you remember that experience?
Yeah, I remember that. It was like so cool. It was so cool to know that I'm gonna representing Sweden, and yeah, it's a feeling that you can't describe, I think. And yeah, it was real cool.
Absolutely. Well, just the elation, just the like weight off your shoulders. At some point, you feel like you're kind of like floating in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just kind of a surreal thing. So,
yeah.
2019, you're on the under 16 team, and I believe, going off the top of my head, I think you are Division A in 2019.
Yeah,
yep.
We were.
And share a little about what's your favorite memory from the under 16 championship?
I think that it was my best memory was that when we played Nordic Championship, actually, because we won there, and we had a lot of fun, and yeah, it was real tough games. And then we came to European Championship, and it didn't go that well there, but it was a really cool experience. It was tough games, and yeah, it was really fun to see the intensity, the high intensity.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that's really the first time you get introduced to countries representing themselves. You talked about the Nordic Championship that y'all played in preparation for the Europeans. You know, in the Nordic is Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and Latvia, right? Is that
yeah?
Right off the top of my head? You had me. It's going off the top of my dome. I wasn't prepared for that one. So, but you know, you get to walk out. You got your flag, but you see people competing against each other. And so, I know they always play that in early January. And it's always a fun event. We always check it out. So now you've been fortunate. You know, COVID is messed up a lot of things around the world, but for you, it's been a great opportunity because it's opened the door for you to get some experiences with the senior women's national team. Last summer you got invited to the camp. And probably around 25 players, something like that. How did it feel? Where were you? Do you remember when you found out that you've been invited to that camp?
Yeah, I understand. And I really didn't expect that I was going to play with them. But when I did, it was really, really cool experience. And to play with the best players in the country. And yeah, I learned so much from it, and it was really inspiring.
Yeah, well, and you were fortunate. You attended the camp. You got invited on the roster. You made the roster for the November European Qualifiers and then you made
Yeah.
the roster again and for the February qualifiers, and then you were part of helping Sweden qualify, for the European qualifiers that are going to be played this summer, I believe in June, if I remember right. I mean, that just had to be like, for you on a couple different fronts, absolutely exciting.
It was.
To be there, but also just to be on the team and to contribute and to play your part, and share a little bit about just being able to achieve that at such a young age, how important that is to you.
Yeah, it was really important to me, and really fun as well. And I think, like you said, I'm really young to play with the national team, but it was like 4 or 5 players that also were new in the team. So I think that helps also. And the teammates was really helpful, and yeah.
And that's awesome. And Sweden did have kind of a mixed team. And what you really see with Sweden is they're looking to the future and realizing, some of the ladies who have played on that team for a while, they're coming up for retirement, like they're deciding. And so you can see kind of gradually how the Sweden national senior women's national team is kind of shifting and taking on new faces, which brings some excitement and some different players as well. And so, but I mean, what an honor to be at, and hopefully, make the team for the European qualifiers this summer. I'm sure y'all have another camp and they'll make that decision. So just absolutely cool experience to be there and to qualify and be all part of that. So
it really was.
Yeah. Now, recruiting, I know your sister's in the States swimming at San Diego State, and we kind of talked about that a little bit. And you have the same desire to continue your basketball career and your education in the United States after you finish school, and you're a 2022 recruit. And I know you're talking to a number of Division I schools, anywhere from mid-major to BCS. What have you enjoyed most in the recruiting process?
I think I've learned like a lot of schools and like how they play in the States, because they're like a different play to play in the States and in Europe, I think. I learned a lot of like different teams and see how high level they are, and
and it's cool because, and I think you're right, but fortunately a lot of internationals are just so like enamored with it, and they're on TV and the big campuses and where the locations are, and and you can kind of get lost in all that and forget the basketball side, and I'm sure you watching your sister go through it with swimming, was a big influence of like, everybody's got a nice campus. Everybody's locations has their pluses and minuses. And so it's there's a good and bad, but you're not enamored by that. You're really looking at it from a basketball standpoint. And from a global side, Team USA's women have been so dominant. And really it's going to take countries, and we're seeing progress from other countries, but it's going to take, players like you coming over to the United States, learning and being successful in that program and style of play, that when, you face them in the Olympics or World Cups or whatever, like you're not intimidated, like, oh, I played her, oh, I played there, or, that there's not the intimidation factor already walking in. And so, that's wise on your end to really be looking at the style of play and how teams use players, and, and where you fit in. So, what do you plan on studying?
I think I want to study psychology, because I in the future I want to like work with people and help people, and
Yeah.
it's interesting.
There you go. There you go. So fun for you is to like go to the mall or big crowds of people and just kind of watch people and go, I can kind of analyze a little bit, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
That's awesome. Well, good. Well, we need good psychologists in this world. And, as we, kind of wrestle with like the mental health, and especially coming off COVID and how that's really affected mental health, we'll definitely need good psychologists. So now, if I'm a basketball fan, college coach, and I've never seen you play, Emma, describe your game to me. What type of player are you?
I think I'm quite fast for my length and athletic, and I like I said earlier, I want to play more outside now, and I also like to push up the ball, and I like more to shoot than attacking, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you. We talked a little bit earlier about, you always being the tallest player and how your game grew. Where you've got great length, you're a lefty, right?
Yeah.
Which is already kind of give you a slight advantage because everybody's used to players going right, but your preference is to go left. But really your length and your ability to shoot it and your comfort on the perimeter really is very impressive. And you can still post up. It's not that you avoid that, but you let your perimeter game work for you. So when you go down to the post, you have more advantage. You got the advantage because they're not quite ready for you to go down there. And so, college coaches, definitely a player you need to check out if you're still looking in that 22 class and stuff. So now before we go, we got to get back to this. We haven't done it the last couple of interviews, but it's just kind of a fun thing. So you got any hidden talents or like special hobbies that you like to do?
I don't have any hidden talent, I think, but a hobby will say I love horses.
Okay.
I've had horses when I was a little kid, so yeah.
So did you ever ride horses in competition?
Yeah, I've had.
Yeah. So did you do the jumps or did you do like where you just rode them and they kind of rode in a circle?
No, I did the jumps.
You did the jumps. Okay. I was like, I know equestrian has different things, and then you got like the cowboy cowgirl equestrian where you're like cutting horses and cattle and all that kind of stuff. So you did the whole gate jumps.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I've never really kind of understood a little bit watching that. Like the horse like just kind of trots and then just jumps over the gate, and then it just kind of trots. It's kind of like aren't they supposed to run through as fast as they can? I don't know. So it's still cool to watch. Well, awesome. Well, Emma, we appreciate your time today and you coming on and joining us for this episode. And so for 2022, Emma Johansson, I'm Mark Williams with Premier Basketball, and we're coming to you from the baseline.